Wounded creature. I would never hurt an animal, not intentionally. I am an expert marksman, but I would never shoot a live animal. I am not fond of animals. I have never kept a pet, and I never will. Caring for or hurting an animal has no interest for me. They are simply a waste of time. I should imagine that this may have taken a few of you by surprise. I should imagine that you saw the picture of this fox with his cast and thought, this is where he shows more of his sadism, by revealing that he tortured guinea pigs when he was a child, or shot at birds in the garden with an air rifle. I am pleased to disappoint you. That never happened. I am well aware that hurting animals may be a sign of no conscience, but it does not mean that a lack of conscience means that you will deliberately hurt animals. It is not a case of me deciding not to hurt them, but rather that I just have no interest in them at all. I know that certain individuals obtain an emotional gratification by hurting an animal, as this is about exhibiting the ultimate control. I actually regard those that engage in that type of behavior as low-functioning epsilon semi-morons. An animal cannot answer you back. It cannot tell you things or say the wrong thing. I do think that animals display certain self-centered narcissistic tendencies, however. Feed me, wash me, stroke me, play with me, walk me, clean my living space, and so on. What a drain of your time and your energy. Animals require a lot of attention, and that is why I cannot countenance ever having one as a pet. Moreover, given what I do, I am often away from where I live for lengthy periods of time, and therefore, even if I was minded to want a pet, it would prove entirely impractical. The simple fact is, I regard animals as something that is largely irrelevant to me, other than, say, for the purposes of food. I regard them as an unnecessary distraction. True, one might utilize them occasionally for the purposes of triangulation, but ultimately they are a lower life form, and therefore of no interest to me in terms of gaining fuel. No, my irritation exists for the wounded creature, the pathetic person that is weak. I do not like babies because they are weak and absorb attention away from me. They take fuel which rightly belongs to me. I don't like the elderly. They are weak, and they also absorb attention away from me with all of the help that they need. I also want no reminder of how mortality fades, and they are the spectres hovering at the end, reminding us that the Reaper's scythe is nearing. I do not like those that are ill. They are weak, and they absorb attention away from me again. I think you're getting the picture. Whilst I do not fear death, indeed I have been in many situations where death has been very near, I have no interest in the weakness and the decrepitude that occurs when one might be knocking at death's door. I would sooner reach my demise as a consequence of execution whilst I am at the peak of my game, rather than sitting there with addled brain in a pool of one's own piss. I have, of course, ensured that such a fate, in the latter sense, will never, ever occur to me. I know you empathic people reach out to these types of people, and that society dictates that these groups, the ill, the elderly, babies, should be cared for. That does not resonate with me. They infuriate me. I would rather they disappeared and did not distract from my purpose. Should they come within my reach, they find themselves subjected to my irritation and displeasure, which results in me lashing out with acidic tongue and savage words in order to exhibit my annoyance and, of course, draw fuel from them and anybody else, whereby I can triangulate. I know that from your perspective you see such behaviour as wrong, but it is honest. It is what I consider to be the appropriate response for the furtherance of my needs. This is why our kind will ditch you for a younger version of you, pays no interest in the birth of the child, why our kind always vanishes when you are ill or injured and in need of care. We have no desire to be reminded of weakness. We do not want to be reminded of something that we once felt a very long time ago and that we have consigned to the depths of experience. We are unwilling to ever feel that way again, and should you cause those sensations to start to manifest, that is why you are subjected to the ignition of our fury as a defense mechanism put in place to ensure that those feelings of weakness and those feelings of weakness that we see and despise with regard to the elderly, the infirm, and the very young do not impact on us.